Vietnam? What year is it?
68 Tet.
Okay. How old were you when you went to Vietnam?
17.
17? Were you drafted or did
No.
you enlist?
No, I enlisted for a rocket missile base school. It didn't end up that way.
Oh, really? And what part were you located?
I was in the 9th Infantry, 5th Cav in Dong Tang, in the Delta.
And what did you say that you were doing there?
I got into a place called Reliable Training Academy in Dong Tang, and I ended up being air evac out of there to the 3rd Field Hospital in Saigon. And I spent 7 or 8 months Walter Reed, got out in 69.
When you went to Vietnam, did you know why the United States was over there fighting?
No.
No?
No, not at the time.
Did you know what you were getting into?
No.
No, you had no information about it.
No. Nobody knew much about it that I could gather. Just, my heart bleeds for the fact that it did happen and that I still don't understand. I don't know that I ever will understand why.
One of the functions of education is to give students the opportunity to test their values, to test their knowledge in a real way.
Traditional classrooms treat students as if they hadn't started their lives yet. All they're doing is practicing, and they never get a chance to really have an impact or feel they have any kind of impact on society, to try out these things that we keep telling them someday they're going to have to do as citizens.
What Bongo does is it tries to give students the tools, the knowledge, in which to make rational and well thought out decisions about their lives, about their communities, about their families, and it gives them a process by which they can test those ideas to see if they're more than just hypotheses, more than just theories.
And so again, we use the final product as a chance for students to feel that, not only feel, but to actually have an impact upon their communities, their fellow students, in ways that tie together the things they learned during the term and that they've decided as a class that these are the things that are most important and the values we want to most share with society.
Having students study academic subjects in order to make themselves more informed citizens so that they can become engaged in a social issue, that is, take on a cause. You are tapping what is most altruistic about teenagers, their need to have a perfect world and to make a contribution to the world, make a significant contribution to the world. And you're also putting learning in its proper perspective. That is a reason for learning.
Is it, is this really a brave new world we're living in? Is that something I can think about now?
I think it's something that you should think about. I think it's something we all should think about.
Right. As a matter of fact, I think it sounds like a real good idea, considering that we got to start picking an idea for a play. You people better start thinking, is that a good idea for a play?
It's like saying, where does the right of a society supersede the right of the individual?
Exactly.
In Bongo, students have the opportunity to choose what is personally important.
I would go up there and I would write that down.
Can you write a play about the right of the individual versus the right of society?
Sure you can, sure.
Isn't that boring?
No, I mean, but there's so many things that are going on now about that. The Supreme Court trying to overrule the Roe versus Wade decision and taking rights away from blacks again, saying that some people are saying that whites should be given jobs because a black man doesn't score a certain mark on a test, that he should have a job and a white guy shouldn't. There's so many things going on.
But that's also within certain things. It's when somebody's got the power to be able to appoint those certain things.
Yeah, but
because
that's
someone who's the one like giving a test.
You were never home. To you, you're like a child with somebody to be next to you when you make speeches. understand that when you understand what's going on in now.
No, you're wrong. Jose and I have it all thought out.
Jose? That's that bum from the beach.
Jose, a bum. He's just an example of Anglo's successful society. A bunch of proud people, farmers, craftsmen, and our busboys, souvenir salesmen, hustlers. You know, jobs to make the people proud.
How will your project and intermediate projects allow students to communicate with the community?
I think with that we got a real opportunity to speak to our peers, to speak with, I think our peers were the most important thing, but also to people, to teachers, to the community. I mean, it was something that we were feeling, and we had to let people know that we were feeling this because, you know, at that time I think we thought we were the most important people around, but I think through the plays we were able to do that, and traveling with the plays and going to different schools, not only the peers that we had in our own high school, but kids all over the city, we were able to communicate to them, hey, you know, this is what we did this on our own, and this is how we feel, and, you know, maybe you should think about it, and you know. And I think a lot of times after the plays we would have discussions and maybe small workshops and stuff, and I think a lot of times these other kids in the other high schools really did feel the same way that we did, but just didn't know how to say it, didn't know how to let other people know that's how they were feeling.
We never see our friends. You know, you were supposed to meet me last Friday night at the cake party. You never showed up.
I can't spend the rest of my life hanging out. I'm pushing 18.
So you're an old man now, I suppose.
No, I'm not an old man. I just have things to do.
You're just not as much fun as you used to be. I want to go out and have a good time. We never do those things anymore. Whatever happened to those days, Lenny?
We could still have them, but...
But what?
I want to stop, you know, dealing.
Stop dealing coke? What are you going to do for money? What are you going to do for our own blow?
It is important not to feel intimidated by controversy.
I would say that teenagers these days in society are confronted with issues such as incest, such as homosexuality, such as violence, etc., etc. No reason to explain. But younger and younger people these days are exposed to that. And whether specifically you can take a specific topic like incest and say, you know, they should know about that. And, you know, what she's saying is right. It's something that is maybe should be handled by a psychiatrist, by a therapist, something that's a little bit sensitive for teenagers. But they're going to have to deal with problems and issues of that scope anyway, at least in a big city like New York, because they're going to be exposed to something of that level somewhere along the way. So whether it's one thing or the other thing or the other thing, kids should be able to, teenagers should be able to cope with issues, cope with sensitive things of that in a classroom setting, because chances are they're going to be exposed to something like that in their own experience. And we can take specific topics and say, no, not that, no, not that, but somewhere along the way, they're going to be confronted with things. And this will better prepare them to handle the situation and to think it through and to be reasonable.
What very often makes it relevant to kids is the willingness of the teachers and the administration to take risks. Bongo very often takes on topics that I think most schools would run away from. Mm-hmm. We've certainly dealt with topics like abortion. We've dealt with rape, dealt with incest. We've dealt with spouse abuse. And we've always done it from a viewpoint that examines the classics and reads great literature. But the bottom line is we've examined these things, we've examined them thoroughly.
How could you do that to her? All this time I pretended like nothing ever happened. I bought the house. I put the kids in school. And you come in here and in 2 minutes you destroy everything that I've worked for, just like you did 2 years ago!
It's not all his fault. I let it happen. I felt so bad for him.
What did you feel bad for him for? I was taking care of things. I was working. He just sat in his duff trying to be the creative artist.
Well, why should he do anything when you were doing everything?
That's no excuse for what he did.
Sure it is. She was supposed to be the wife.
We discussed the topic a lot before we did the play, and the teachers liked to play devil's advocate, which was very good because it would get you thinking a lot more. But you would be set in one way of thinking, and then suddenly they would be throwing another viewpoint at you, and that could really tear at your morals and make you really think. So I think it's good because life is not a bed of roses, and you have to learn to deal with heavy subjects in your life, whether it be incest or something else. But risky, you have to have a safe environment. Bongo, I think, was fairly safe. We held each other's opinions and viewpoints confidential.
What misgivings do you have about bringing controversial issues into the classroom? What might you do to allay those fears?
One thing that Bongo did, and one thing that the interrelated classes did, is that it made you look at things conceptually, and look at them not only as one idea that you're taught to digest, but something that you're meant to analyze, look into, read between the lines. And when I went on to college at Binghamton, at SUNY, there was, a certain amount of political issues there that people discussed, that the students discussed in different groups, that I became a part of there, and it taught me, Bongo helped me to be aware of these things and to be more conscious of them, but it also made me look at them, look at these issues and look at things in a different way and try to...
Most students are not intimately involved in citizenship and in the democratic process which will empower them from the moment they leave high school. Whether it is the Vietnam War, nuclear arms, or AIDS, Bongo seeks to make real connections and get students to participate in social action.
The things that we studied in Bongo, we always took it to heart. We always took it from our viewpoint as teenagers, as high school students, and not necessarily, it could be anything from, owning a pet to falling in love to Vietnam.
I got involved in the U.S. out of El Salvador thing, which was very interesting. It was my first taste of politics, really. We mostly just handed out leaflets and whatnot, but it was great because I, to this day, am a lot more involved just personally. I mean, I just, before that I didn't care about, who cares what happens down there, I'm not there.
What agencies, organizations, or socially active groups can you link up with to provide ties of empowerment for your students?
What would you tell your son if he had to go into a similar situation?
I don't know, my son kind of likes Rambos. He's 4 years old, so what can I say? I have to tell him, and Rambo's not invincible. He can get shot. The way they portray him on TV, the man can't get hurt, and that's what these kids are seeing today. Hey, I can go in and wipe out a village, and I'm not going to get hit.
In 1985, we participated in an oral history project involving Vietnam veterans, protesters, politicians, and citizens who lived through that era.
147 Marines says, no, we won't. We'll save ourselves. Then we might try to help you. But I killed a few. I know I did. I've seen it. It's staying with me. It's hard to forget. I killed a child while I was there. That's one thing I can't get out of my mind. I try. I've got 2 kids of my own. And I just hope to God that my son doesn't have to go through it. And I don't know, I was 19 years old. What can I say? I was told to do it. I was proud that I did it. I was told I did what I was told to do.
When studying free speech, students decided to march against nuclear arms.
Another way in which we tie ourselves and connect ourselves to the real world is we take our students out of school. You don't have to be in school to learn.
And students are desperate to get out of school, and we're desperate to get out of school. And so to take students on a museum trip, to take students to a business, to to experience something you're studying, to take students to a potter studio to work on pottery and to go back 3 or 4 weeks in a row is something that's vital to be part of Bongo. And to be part of this program where you're saying to students, we're not separating you from the rest of the world. School is not a separate entity that has nothing to do with the rest of the world. You're connected.
If it wasn't for a lot of things that I saw in the museums, and that, you know, I went strictly by the paper though. Okay? There were certain questions and people I had to look for. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have known, you know, half the names that I do now, or, you know, go looking for these people when I hear that, you know, there's going to be a certain exhibit of their work. And it did pan out.
Once you have been somewhere new with a group, these places belong to you. They become more accessible. We have a map of how to get there and how to come back home. We have a language with which to understand and communicate about them. What trips are appropriate for your group? How do they fit the themes you are studying? How do they reinforce and enhance the curriculum? What are the practical considerations you need to have in order to plan a trip?
Our Bongo program has taken the kids out of the building a lot, and other teachers will say, well, that kid's missing my course, and it's difficult convincing people sometimes that what they're learning is part of life, and that maybe instead of an isolated subject for a couple hours, it might be better to get out there.
When you went to Vietnam, did you know why the United States was over there fighting?
No.
No?
No. Not at the time.
Did you know what you were getting into?
No.
No, you had no information about it.
No.